Oh my goodness. In what was a lifeless Matt, you're up. Okay, never mind. I'm back. You know what? We're a little bit rusty. I said we've been off for 18 days, and Maximilian, our producer, started us off on the wrong frame. What's going on, everybody? I was gonna say, after a soulless, lifeless weekend last week with no ELF football. Oh, the bye week. So sad. We are back, baby. Week 13. ELF football is back, and I am here back with my boy, Matt Bressington. Maxie, go ahead and show Matt now. There he is. We're back on ELF Live. What's up, everybody in the chat? And Matt, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Horrible bye week of nothing to do. And then 20 minutes before we start, I dropped my camera, pull and snap one of my wires. So that's why we're on a webcam today. So I look a little bit rustic. I don't look as good as I do usually. But yeah, we're at a sink a little bit at the moment this week.
Hey, man, we're just shaking the rust off a little bit. Obviously, I'm in a different setup as well, but here we're back to talk a little ELF ball week 13. And Matt, we've got some interesting playoff scenarios which we are going to get into. But like I said, everybody, welcome in the chats wherever you are watching on. Put your chats in there. You guys know the drill. Interactive show. We need you. Okay. We're going to go through a signing center. Got a quick little signing center. A couple movements have happened. And then, Matt, as we do, we're going to do our game previews. Saturday's a little bit meh. Sunday's pretty damn awesome. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking about the playoff implications and what can happen. Then we've got, of course, the show put on by Euronics, the Euronics question of the week. And then another segment by Euronics and Egrits talking about the fastest player in the league. No, Matt, not me, Matt. Okay. We were talking about my 4.6 speed earlier. I don't think I'm going to count. And then, of course, fantasy football. You ready to go, Matt? You ready for this?
I'm ready to go. Also, I think now that we don't have Dawson Dales in the league, obviously our previous fastest player in the league, of course, he's not in the league this season, so that's a shame we missed out on him being in this
league. The speed of the league has dropped off with Dawson Dales going into retirement. First Down Magazine, what's going on? Aiden, what's going on? The chats are coming in here, so we will acknowledge you guys as they come on in. So with that being said, everybody, stay tuned for all the segments, and let's get in, Matt. Let's get into our signing center to start us off. Week 13, baby. Okay. Go ahead and throw up that first one for us, Maxie. Will you do just that? Oh, there we go. Jalen Tregle is on IR. The Hamburg Sea Devils, Matt. The quarterback woes continue. Talk about a QB carousel, my friend. Tregle's out. They did get a familiar face coming back in, which we'll talk about in a sec. What do you make of this? I mean, he didn't get much of an opportunity to do anything there.
No, he didn't get to put much on tape. The game, of course, unfortunately, you go in mid-season. There's not very many quarterbacks that make a great game out of a debut performance when they chucked in mid-season, but didn't play too great, unfortunately. But again, man, Hamburg and QB injuries this season. I think they started with Micah. He got hurt in the first week, and then they put in Mac, and then they got Talia. He didn't work out, and then they had Mac back in, and then they had Traeger, and he's now got hurt. So at some point, you got to feel a little bit sorry for the Hamburg Sea Devils.
I wonder if this is a record for most quarterbacks that a team has gone through in a single season.
I think it'd be them or last year's Panthers, because they went through quite a lot. They had Duncan, they had Vitali, they had a lot of different guys coming through last year. So I think it'll be up there.
It's up there. It's at least top 5. Okay, so Tregel's out, but who do they have in? A familiar face from a familiar name, a guy that we like, Matt, coming back to the ELF. Give us a little Carlton Aiken Jr. This man, exciting, fun to watch. We love what he did down in Helvetic. Okay, he had a nice little connection there with your favorite young wide receiver, and he's back in the league. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I love it. I'm a big Carlton Aiken fan. I always said when he was at Helvetic, when he was at Barcelona, this guy's a legit quarterback. He just needs an opportunity. He retired after Helvetic season. Bear in mind, Nick, this is not a very fun fact, especially with Jamal's going to see this later. He was the last player to get a win with Helvetic when he was their quarterback. They haven't got one since, which is kind of rough, obviously. But he is a great quarterback, friend of mine as well. So I'm excited to see him back in the league. He's still pretty young, too. He's 27 years old. So maybe he has a big splash. He could maybe stay around for another year. I know he was in talks with a few teams at the start of the year, but ultimately went
Hey.
back to the States, was being coached in the States too, so he's going to be fresh.
Jamal says, Aiken, Helvetic, great. I'm here for my guy. Hey, welcome back to the ELF, Carlton Aiken. He was fun to watch a little bit last year, so I like that coming on in. First Down Magazine said a article coming in later today with the scenarios. We talking about playoff scenarios, First Down Mag? We're going to be talking about those in a little bit because there's a lot of drama, a lot of things that can happen. So then we've got the Hamburg quarterback situation, and we've got one more in the signing center, Matt. Ludwig Myron, okay? Injured, unfortunately. Nordic Storm, great linebacker, flies around, very, very productive player. He is out. What do you make of this?
Yeah, it's a shame, and I think that could hurt them during the playoffs. Like, they've had a weird couple weeks, I think I would say, just with like their defense is not quite being as good as it was at the start of the year. They've been kind of checked by the Galaxy, so them losing a key defensive piece, an all-star, like one of the homegrown talented players, I think that could be maybe something we look at during the playoff run as a big turning point potentially for the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, tough timing for that for the Nordic Storm defense. Weird few weeks for the Nordic Storm. Tough to understand and tough to make something of what and who they are. I mean, we're going to be talking about them later in the game previews, but going to be really critical here as we get to the final couple of weeks and then playoff mode. See what's the Nordic Storm really all about. But without Myron there on the defensive side of the ball, going to hurt a little bit. So there we have it. There's our quick little signing center, new quarterback in Hamburg. And Matt, let's go ahead and move on now to our individual game previews. Like I said, we're going to buzz through some of the Saturday ones, maybe not as exciting. Sunday we got some awesome ones. There you go. Maxie's throwing up the nice graphic, but we're going to talk about all of them here. Let's start off with the Berlin Thunder and the Enthroners of Fehérvár. Matt, what do you make of this one? Obviously, the Enthroners, a winless franchise, but you and I were talking before, the most interesting and exciting winless franchise in the league so far this year. What do you say?
I would agree. I think they are the best team with no wins in the league. And they've been kind of unfortunate at some points to have no wins. Against Prague, it was a one-possession game. Against the Panthers, it was pretty damn close to one-possession game. Against Vienna, I'm not saying they're going to beat Vienna, but it was very close at halftime during one of their games. I think this is their best chance to win a game this season. I think they absolutely could win a game this season. They've kind of, I don't mean to bring it all the way back to Prague, but like I tend to do. But I call it the Prague blueprint, right? You get in a quarterback. They haven't quite gone with it because the Prague blueprint is more of a conservative quarterback. Don't turn the ball over. They've got a receiver that can catch just 10 balls a game in John Cole. He's had a great season so far. They've stacked the offensive line a lot better than they had originally. They've got a very talented young athletic linebacker with Gavin Potter, and then they've also got an American defensive back. So they've drastically improved throughout the year, and legit, I think they can win this one, Nick. I'm kind of excited to see this. I think this is a legit. And it's at home. I think it could be a win.
Yeah. Are we gonna see the Enthroners get their first win of the season? Upset alert! Look at that, Matt Bressington going with the Enthroners. Damn, you know what? I did choose Berlin. Maxie, I'm sorry because I know we made the graphic. I've been convinced. I feel like it might happen. I'm feeling an upset alert as well. I don't think that we can throw my graphic up there. Yeah, see, I have Berlin. Cancel it. I'm going Enthroners also. Sorry, Maxie. I know that's not what we talked about. But Matt, you just convinced me. I'm just feeling it. Something's going on with the Enthroners. It's gonna happen.
You
know what?
And Berlin, they've had some moments, but they've just been a bit weird this year, you know?
Also weird. I mean, they did, give Nordic Storm a run for their money up into the second half there, but also we said Nordic Storm's a little bit weird. All right. So you know what? Give me the Enthroners as well. Let's see. Let's ride with the Enthroners. Come on, boys. Get that first win of the season. All right. So there we have it. First game. Moving on to our next game, a team that is trying to clinch their division and probably will do so. The Stuttgart Surge. They've got the Cologne Centurions, a little bit let's say, less interesting of a winless franchise here. Stuttgart Surge obviously pushing for that fourth clinch spot and getting into the playoffs. What do you make of this, Matt?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. This one maybe not going to make all the headlines. I think we get another chance to probably look at a lot of the depth of the Stuttgart Surge because, I mean, we might see a little bit more like I don't want to say MVP level run form of Lars Heidrich, but he's looked really
Hey,
good. He's been one of the
Lars,
best quarterbacks in the
hey, you
league.
look at the stats, my man, and he's gotten some good opportunities over the last couple of years. My man plays ball,
He
okay,
does.
and he's going to get a good opportunity this weekend as well. We'll see if Riley Hennessy plays a quarter or two, but I'm excited to see Lars in there. And then you know what? He's getting a great opportunity putting some tape up. You know,
Absolutely.
this is. Do you think that he could start in the ELF for maybe some of the lower half franchises?
No disrespect to Lars, he's a great quarterback, but I think you need an American Q unless you're gonna have like a European who's played in college. Maybe then that'll be a different story. But I think at this point in ELF European production, I would still go for an American quarterback. But
Yeah, there you
he's
go.
probably the best German quarterback in the league. Maybe I know some other German quarterbacks. In particular, I got one in my mind that we might talk about at some point. He's going to be arguing that, but he's injured at the moment, so now Lars takes the throne.
And don't forget guys like Jan Weinreich. Okay, played under Jordan Newman. Also played for both of these teams actually, and he made the
Yeah, it's a
start.
good point.
Yeah. Okay. And the greatest German quarterback of all time did play under Jordan Newman, Marco Ehrenfried. And say Lars is under that Jordan Newman situation right now. So we'll see. We'll see how he continues to develop. But I think it's pretty obvious. I'm going with the Surge. Matt, who do you got?
I think I'm going to go with the Surge as well. Hot takes only on this one, but I don't see this one being too close.
Ballsy take. All right, moving on to our next one. Another probably one-sided one here, but this is interesting because the Paris Musketeers against the Helvetic Mercenaries. Paris Musketeers are in the playoff hunt, man. And it's obviously these final couple of games, what they control, very important. And then also they need some things to fall into place themselves here. What do you make of the Musketeers at this point in the season, Matt?
Oh man, we threw around weird quite a lot earlier this year, but this is another team that I would categorize as that. They have a slow start, but like an absolute gauntlet of a schedule to begin the ELF season. Like they played everyone you don't want to play. They played Rhein Fire, then Stuttgart, then Frankfurt, and then Rhein again, and then Frankfurt again. Like that 6 weeks was just brutal. They have some obviously clearer cut wins, but they've been picking up a little bit more. But those two losses against Vienna and Stuttgart are like huge. Like I'm not sure they'll be able to get over those two losses.
This is tough, man. In the they've got obviously Helvetic, and then they've got I believe Hamburg, or they play Vienna again, also, right?
Yes,
so,
they got Vienna.
According to our playoff analysis document, which more of this will be posted on social media, but according to our analysts right now, 40% chance of making the playoffs for Paris right now. They do need to win out, and hopefully some other things fall into place. It'd be just weird, Matt, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a great look if Coach Del Rio comes in. Paris made the playoffs last year and then doesn't make it this year. I know the league is getting more competitive here in the top half, but wouldn't feel great for the Musketeers if they don't get in, right?
Yeah, I mean, they do have the best defense in points allowed still. So I don't necessarily think it's Jack Del Rio. I don't think anyone's at fault necessarily. But like, we look at teams like Stuttgart, we look at teams like Madrid, we look at teams like Munich. They can just score like that. Paris, not as much. Like, I'm not saying it's a particular player's fault. They just cannot get really like white hot for like a couple of games. You know what I'm saying? Like they struggle to score as much consistently. So we need to see that a little bit. They kind of flashed it against Vienna, but just not enough for me. They need to show it again against Vienna later in the calendar.
Yeah, I mean, and that first matchup with Vienna was a great game, like almost an ELF instant classic. They showed up well there. I think that was on the road, right? That was at Vienna, wasn't it? And they lost by one score. So I mean, they have the ability here. It's just like kind of any given week for Paris. But obviously, I think we're both going to be taking Paris this week, huh?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You're not feeling risky?
Respect to my Helvetic boys. No. I'm going to go for the safe one on this one.
Hey, Jamal does have a question here, and let's just real quick. He says, "Who is the homegrown QB that will one day lead an ELF franchise?" Do you have anybody in mind, Matt? Not to dwell on this, but we gotta get the chat involved.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Honig, I know he's a tight end now at UConn. He's a freak athlete. He would have been good a couple of years ago, but he's transition position. That's a fun thing to say. And then Justin Glowak, a moment, UK quarterback. He just spent the last year at Ole Miss as a I believe as a walk-on, but he played at Eastern Illinois before that. And then Sam Fenton, who some people, Nick, I said he wasn't a D1 quarterback like 5 years ago. People hold on to it, but he's just went D1 now. So congratulations, Sam Fenton. So he's going to be I'm blanking on where he is at the moment, but yeah, he's just going into D1 circuit now. So maybe in a few years we could see him return. 6'6" NFL Academy alumni. So he's got some good pedigree. We know how much we love the NFL Academy alumni players.
We do, don't we? And shout out ELFpedia for keeping us right. Live fact check. No, that game was in Paris, actually. And then the next showdown will be in Vienna. Good job, ELFpedia. Keep us on our toes there. All right, so we both got Paris in this one. Let's move on to the last one on Saturday, and it is the Panthers at the Vikings. Always an interesting Eastern Conference matchup here. Sometimes the Panthers play the Vikings well, sometimes not. Obviously, Vienna sitting there looking nice with a bye week here. What do you make of this game, Matt?
This could be a trap game, potentially, if Vienna kind of take their foot off the gas. They're not normally a team that do that, but you never know. They did lose this season, of course, so they're not invincible. I think the Panthers just need to keep the ball on the ground, but use Zozo more, man. I know he's had a lot of carries this year, but I want to see more of him. I think they need to control time possession because you want to keep this Vienna Vikings offense off the field. They're so phenomenal. You just need to keep them away and try and just drown out the clock, try and tire out the defense. I think realistically, I think that's the only way I can see that we get even a close game for the Panthers because they've had a very front-ended schedule. Now they've got to play Munich, Vienna. It's just a brutal end. So I think a lot of players maybe as well, but the playoffs are completely done for them now. They cannot make the playoffs. I don't think, including the ELFpedia's maths, they can't make the playoffs. So maybe some players will be a bit more checked out.
Let me check. No, Matt, you were incorrect. Playoff possibility, 0.8% chance.
Oh, nice.
A 1% chance. But hey, as they said in the famous movie Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey. So you're saying there's a chance.
Fair point.
All right.
My apologies, Panthers Nation. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Panthers. 0.8. Okay. That is a chance. But I think you and I are both feeling a little Vienna Vikings this weekend. I'm going Vikings. What about you?
I'm going to go for Vienna Vikings as well. Ben Holmes is going to go for that MVP, man. I think there's a lot of people trying to make a case for that in my DMs at the moment that he should be more in the MVP race.
MVP. All right. So let's move on. As Mike Mathis in the chat says, the Saturday and Sunday's games are like night and day. Well, that was the night. Let's turn to the day, the bright lights of Sunday's games, because we got some good ones. And my goodness gracious, we'll start off with this one. The Madrid Bravos at the Munich Ravens, the rematch. And I'm absolutely devastated. They asked, I wanted to broadcast this game. They asked if I could, and I can't do it, man. I can't. So I'm very upset about that. But this is showing up to be a very, very important one. Obviously, the Madrid Bravos lost them. Was this with a 1-point game? They lost by 1 to either the Ravens or the Raiders in the first round.
Lost by 1 to the Raiders, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So then they lost by 3 then to the Ravens in the first matchup, right? This is, as Mal Chow says, welcome in the chat. Alex Euroball Chow, game of the week, baby. A lot of playoff implications here. Matt, talk to me about this one. We got Sinnott versus Tabor. We saw them golfing together on YouTube. What do you make of this rematch?
I mean, this does so much. I mean, even Sinnott is Chris and Tabor's new nickname, which some people are not a fan of, but I think it's quite funny. Old Butterballs. I think it's a brilliant nickname. I like Tabor Time. Tabor Time works well, but Butterballs is a good alternate. But I'm looking forward to this one like you wouldn't believe. I think we need a man and double header for Bravos versus Ravens and also the Raiders versus Fire game. But dream case scenario, that would be right. I don't know how this is going to go, but what I do know is it's probably going to be a lot like the first game. Offensive shootout, both teams just going for it. Scores here, there, and everywhere. Stanley scoring. Crookshank's breaking records. I think Sinnott is 12 touchdowns away from the all-time season record. He's probably going to get yards, but touchdowns looks a bit unlikely unless he has an unbelievable game. Crookshank probably going to break the single game because if he gets 125 yards, which is a normal average day for him, that's not that hard. So I feel like, oh man, I think I'm going to go for this, right? It was what, 43-40 last time? Over under
Yeah.
80 points. What do you reckon?
Over under 80. Ooh, boy. I'm going over. I just looking at that last game they had, and I feel like I'm going over. These two teams are fireworks, man, and they're gonna put on a show. Could be wrong, could finally have a little bit of defense, a little defensive stop here. I will say playing at Munich, and when that place is rocking, it is rocking. And Karen Hogg says the crowd is gonna turn up big with the noise for our boys. Big noise there could affect that high-powered offense of the Madrid Bravos. But look, Reed Sinnett's played in NFL games. I don't know if that noise is really going to affect our man right there. I think that he's just too experienced. But yeah, great, it's loud. We're fine. And inviting her also with all his experience. I'm going over. What do you think?
I might go under. There's a little bit more tape on both teams now,
Okay.
especially against each other's schemes. I might go a little bit under, but it's still going to be a shootout. And then Jamal just pointed out as well, Andrew versus Kentrell was a great coaching battle, dating back to year 2, Barcelona versus Hamburg. These are two, founding, I would say, iconic coaches in the ELF, Kentrell Edison and Andrew Wandinger. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not sure, ELFopedia, if you guys got the numbers on, I don't know what the head coaching matchup is between the record-wise, but that would be I'd like to see those numbers.
Yeah, there we go. Marcus says, my youngest has already claimed the living room and the TV for us to watch ELF this weekend. You guys will be watching this one on Sunday for sure. Man, Matt, this is an exciting one. This is the Madrid Bravos, man. I mean, the back half of their season here, obviously we talked about how they have to win these 3. If they win their next 2 games, they are in control of their own destiny playoff-wise. And if they beat Munich here, they've also got Frankfurt's, again, in the following week, a different Frankfurt team with Jameson Wang, as you made a video about. It's a different squad. But if they do beat Munich here, they're in a pretty good shape here to make the playoffs. According to Niels, our analyst right now, Madrid's possibility for the playoffs is 69% right now. And like I said, they're in control of their own destiny here. I think this is going to be another fun one, man. I mean, the last time these two played, I was on a boat on the Columbia River in Oregon. I had my phone out right there. Sunny, beautiful day. And I was captivated not by the beautiful nature or the water, but by ELF football on my phone. I feel like it's going to be another one like that. Who are you going for, Matt?
I think the Madrid Bravos are going to ruin homecoming for the Ravens. They've got controversially, I think, beautiful. Some people don't like them. I love them. I love the jerseys that they've got for homecoming. The Bavarian. I love it. It's beautiful.
I'm with you. I love those.
It's great. I think Ravens going to be the 9-1. We're happy with 9-1. I think they're maybe a little bit too free flowing. They think they've got it wrapped up because they won the first time in the 9-1. Madrid need to win this game realistically, and I think that'll show in the result. I think I'm going to go for the Madrid Bravos.
Okay. All right. I respect the decision. Yeah, it's the thing. The thing is, the Ravens have clinched, right? They have less on the line here. And I know the Munich Ravens hate me, as the Frankfurt Galaxy hated you in the first half of the season. You guys have repaired that relationship, man. It's beautiful to see. Maybe I can do that with the Munich Ravens. I don't think it's going to happen this week because I'm also going with you. I'm going Madrid Bravos. And it's nothing against Munich. It's just that the Bravos have more on the line here. Ravens are sitting cool, sitting pretty. All right. They're already clinched there. Bravos are essentially fighting for their spot there in the playoffs. And I feel like they're going to come on the road. They're not going to be phased by the noise. Reed Sinnett, experienced quarterback there, going to be getting it done. Close game, fun game. And I'm going to take that over also, but I'm going to take the Bravos with it. Poof. So we're going Bravos, Matt. You and I both.
That's going to upset a lot of people because we go against Munich sometimes, and they get vocal when we go against them. But then every time I went for Munich, they ended up the one time I went for them, they ended up losing it. So it's like, all right,
hey man, we'll see. This is not gonna help my relationship with the Munich Ravens whatsoever. But they're great. They're a great ball club. They just have less on the line this week. There's less of incentive. I mean, I know they got their beautiful jerseys for homecoming, but it's playoff fight for the Bravos. So we're both going Bravos there. All right, let's move on to our next game. Carlton Aiken Jr. making his return to the ELF. Sea Devils at the Storm. Gosh, Matt. Well, I got 2 questions for you here. One, do you think Carlton Aiken's going to come on in and actually step in and have some success? into what the hell do we think about the Nordic Storm? Obviously, having that loss to Frankfurt a couple weeks ago, weird. We've seen some weird halves from them. Playing against Berlin, they did have an impressive comeback against the Rhine Fire about a month ago. So I just don't really know what to make of the Nordic Storm, man. Where you?
I mean, I literally thought they were going to win so much last time they played, and then they didn't. They made it close. But I think this, like, if you told me at the start, I was thinking about it this morning. If you told me the Hamburg Sea Devils have Aiken, Naz, Carl Kitchens, and Taron Robinson, I'd be like, damn, that's a good team. But it's not been, their full season form, and they haven't had Aiken in. I think Aiken will have some success. However, play calling, not been great. Offensive line, not been great. Receiver weapons, mixed, but they do have some solid weapons I think you can use. It's a good run game. They obviously got Chris Mckay as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him get back to it because I was watching tape on Chris Mckay all this week. And it's very obvious teams have started to close that gap because they just know what Hamburg's going to do. They can only really run the ball. So I think having someone like Carlton Aiken is going to be a big, big feather in their cap. So I do think he'll have success. In regards to Storm, man, weird. So weird. We kind of questioned the strength of their schedule because obviously they didn't play really legit contenders in our opinion.
Right.
They have a bit of a squeaker against Hamburg. They have a very big squeaker against Rhine Fire. They were closer than we expected, although comfortable with Berlin. And then they lose the Galaxy. So last 5 weeks, since that against the Mercenaries, it didn't happen. They've just looked like a bit of a different team. Defense hasn't been as good. I was watching them again when I was watching Wang's tape.
Yeah.
They're just not breaking up the ball. The passes are coming in, and they're just not getting as many pass deflections as they were at the beginning of the year. It's really weird. They just can't seem to force the ball out during these catch points. It's fascinating. So I don't know. I think this is going to be maybe where Storm need to show they can be a playoff contender.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's interesting sitting there at 9-1, but I feel like we both don't feel as confident with them at 9-1 as we do with the Munich Ravens or the Vienna Vikings. I think that there's still some questions about the Nordic Storm. They've just shown us enough cracks, and then that loss to Frankfurt, just what is going on here? Let's see. In the chat, Aiden says Storm have been a bit dodgy, but I don't think Hamburg have enough. And he also says, have teams just learned what the Storm are and they aren't new anymore? We've got 9 games to tape. That's also a good point. They've put stuff on tape here. They were a new team, being able to be brand new, but now teams have maybe been able to figure some things out. Although the offense hasn't really been struggling. I mean, it's just that one game with Frankfurt where Jay had those picks. But either way, Matt, I'm still in this one here. I know it was a bit dodgy the first time they played Hamburg, but they're going to bounce back here. And I'm going Nordic Storm with this one.
I would agree. They've also been a bit unfortunate with injuries. X got injured, Glenn got injured, Ludwig's got injured, the Olandra's got a bit injured. That receiver core was already thin to begin with. So they've been unlucky. But I'm going to go with you. I think it should be more comfortable than last time. And I think they're going to try and they're going to have to work hard for that 1 seed, but they probably should be okay because they got this one and they got Ryan. But that's going to be an interesting one against Ryan.
That'll be an interesting one. Last question on this from First Down Mag. Is Chris Mckay finishing with over 1,000 yards rushing? He currently has 761. So he needs 239 yards over the next 2 games. How's that for quick maths, Matt?
Very nicely done.
Nice, huh? All right.
Very nicely done. That's a good
239 over 2 games. Is he gonna get 1,000?
Let me see who he's got real quick. Won't take me 2 seconds. But I think
you'd look that up.
I'm literally in the middle of his evaluation at the moment. So I've got good tape on him. I've been watching him a ton. He has Berlin and he has Nordic. I'm gonna see. I know Kai and me, we go way back. We've been talking for years. I don't think he's gonna get 1,000 yards, and I'm gonna say that because I want him to work for it. I think he's gonna finish with about 930, 940. I think he's gonna, like I said, teams have been collapsing that box in. I think he might fall a little bit short, but use that as inspiration, Kaya, because they're a great player.
Bulletin board material, as we like to make on this show. Malchow does say Storm and Surge remain mysterious. I think that's kind of fair. The also a little bit like, okay, wait, what's going on here? Like when they had that first Paris game, something we'll see here as everything gets closer to playoffs. And Zoran says Ludwig Myron is a massive loss for the Storm, obviously. So we're both going, though, with the Nordic Storm for this one. There we have it. Moving on, Matt, to a very anticipated rematch here. And I got to pull up our playoff document because both of these teams are still in the conversation. The Matt Bressington Prague Lions TM will play host to the Frankfurt Galaxy. Now, as I pull this up, Prague Lions, and it's unbelievable that we are even saying these words, Matt. The Prague Lions in week 13, they have a 30% chance of making the playoffs. Unbelievable. What an accomplishment. Absolutely incredible to turn around. The fact that we are having this conversation. Okay. And then the Frankfurt Galaxy, what is their playoff potential possibility as I search for it? 11.2% chance. So Frankfurt.
I'm not sure if you've frozen up. You've frozen up a little bit at the end there, Nick.
Am I back?
You're back. I think you're back.
Okay. What's the last thing you heard?
I heard 11%. And then that was it.
Okay. 11% for Frankfurt, 30% for your Prague Lions. A lot on the line for both these teams who are still alive in the playoff picture. Obviously, when they played earlier in the season, the Prague Lions getting that win. A lot of people surprised by that. Not you, Matt Bressington. Not you. However, and we've said this, Jamison Wang, the Jamison Wang Galaxy, different team. What are your thoughts on this game for this weekend?
Yeah, this one I've been losing sleep over this one. I'm not going to lie, because this one is huge. Of course, this is not your grandfather's Prague Lions. They've looked infinitely better throughout the whole of the season. 6-4. Who would have thought coming into the year? Warner, for me, it's not even questionable. He has to be coach of the year. I don't even think that's even in debate. I know these other guys, they've had great seasons. No one has done what Coach Warner has done. I think he should be absolute coach of the year. That being said, Wang is here to save the Galaxy. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan. If you watch my video, you see how much of a fan I am. Someone in the comment section, Nick, said that I acknowledge Wang's a great quarterback. I think that him and Jadrian are the best in the league. I was like, oh, okay. No Reed.
Interesting.
No Ben Holmes, no one. So the hype for Wang is through the stratosphere at the moment.
Oh, go ahead. Did you cut out? What happened?
What did you last hear?
Say it again, Matt. I lost it.
Yeah. So Wang through the stratosphere with hype. I think. See, this is kind of a matchup that I'm really interested to see, because Wang doesn't throw to the outs very well at times. You got Ken Hike, who's been on Defensive Player of the Year form in these last couple of weeks. I think we could either see Wang make some adjustments, have a great game, or Wang throw 2 or 3 interceptions. I can't see it being anything in between. Either way, I'm going to be watching it. I'm calling both games. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be great.
There we go. Okay, so it's gonna be an interesting one. Aiden Stephenson says, as much as I hate to say, I think Prague might lose. It'll make me cry. It'll make you cry too, Matt. I just don't think Prague have been as good since that last Galaxy game. ELFpedia says Prague's form is going downhill fast because they have no depth and no good quarterback. Okay, what do you make of that? I mean,
he's had moments. I think they can. I said about Paris not setting fire. I think sometimes we have that with Prague. We just don't have like a way we can move the ball downfield really fast. Sometimes we have Willie P, but if Willie P's getting doubled, there's only so much we can do. We've had some offensive hiccups, absolutely. I think this could be a good opportunity. You can see it's had moments. Like I said, that's Javarian has had so many moments. Even had it in Hamburg. He could be still comeback player of the year, to be fair. He's not out of that competition.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Prague, I mean, they've got Frankfurt and they've got Hamburg here. If they win both of those games, they're in a pretty decent spot. They don't outright control their own destiny, but if they do win both of those games, then they have a pretty decent chance here. But Matt, coming down to it here, we got to make a prediction. You got to make a prediction here. Who do you got?
I'm going to go for the Prague Lions.
Oh, who'd have thunk, huh?
It's got to be done. I'm supporting, of course, we have a little bit of bias fun times, but I think I just want to see them in the playoffs, man. That's what I want to see more than anything. 7-5 is still great, even if they lose this one and win the next. But imagine the Pride Lions going to the playoffs. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be incredible. That would be perhaps one of the best turnarounds that we've seen in ELF history. One of the best here. Look, Matt, I would love to join you. Okay, I would love to. I believe in the story. I love the story of the Pride Lions. And if Jameson Wang wasn't quarterbacking the Galaxy, I would probably choose Prague. But it, to me, is a different team right now. And they've got something to play for, as does Prague. But with Wang, it's just looking different. I was very impressed with them beating the Nordic Storm. They're turning a corner a little bit. There's still an 11% chance to make the playoffs. Give me the Frankfurt Galaxy. I don't want to choose them, but I have to because I think this is what's going to go down. So we're split on that one, but this will be an exciting one on Sunday. Lots of playoff implications. Okay, so we're split on that. Matt, let's go to the final game of the weekend. Also a pretty interesting one, a rematch as the Raiders travel to play at the Rhine Fire. And the Raiders did beat the Fire earlier in the season. It was an interesting one. It was in Innsbruck, and they kind of handled them. It was a bit of a surprise game for some people. Matt, what do you make of this rematch? The Fire are trying to lock in their playoff spots. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, we talk about the playoff seedings, right, and the chances of teams getting playoffs. The ELFopedia has the Raiders predicted as a 0.72% chance of making the playoffs, which is marginal. But like you say, there's a chance.
Yeah.
This is away, so that's going to make it a little bit difficult. It's a long away day. But like the Raiders look so comfortable against Rhine the first time, which is odd. Like they looked never really in too much trouble, but then they also lose against Munich in these tough games, and they got blown out by Madrid. Like, I don't know what to think of the Raiders too much. I think this is an unfortunate year for them, but they could play spoil, and I think the Raiders would like to play spoil against a team like the Rhine Fire. I think that would kind of set them at a good pace maybe for next season, and it would be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
It would be pretty funny. Yeah, I mean the Raiders' chance at playoffs is less than 1%. The Fire's chance is 56%, and they do control their own destiny. If they win out, they are going to be in the playoffs. That first game, that was a little bit weird, man. And I don't know. The Rhine Fire, I don't really know what to make of them. It's obviously it's a different Rhine Fire than we've known in years past. They've looked decent at times. They've looked weird at times. But I think here they're finally clicking a little bit here in the final couple weeks of the season, coming into playoffs. There's still a lot of experience on that team. I don't know what to make of the Raiders beating them earlier in the season. Kind of just felt like a bad road trip for the Rhine Fire. They are going to be at home. It is a tough environment to play in, and so I'm leaning towards Rhine Fire on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I actually can't remember who I went for at the beginning of the show. I'm not going to lie. I'm so, because it could be so in between each team. Like, Fire have got Rohan now being the offensive coordinator, which is interesting. Have an active player as OC. That's very, very different. And it continues the transition of former players going into coaching roles, which I love. I think it's great. We have James Brooke, we have Quentin Pounds as well. So that's been really, really fun. Who did I go for, Maxi, in the pre-show? I went for the Raiders.
Wow, man.
I always went for the Raiders. I had never a doubt. I think they're going to play spoils to Rhine Fire potentially. They are not out of the playoffs completely. And I think it would shake things up. You know what I mean? Maybe, am I saying that because I really want Prague to make the playoffs? Maybe.
Yes,
but also,
you are.
potentially, it could be a very, very interesting result.
All right, so you got Raiders. Jamal says, chat, what do you think? Can the Fire three-peat? Can this Fire three-peat? Matt, you say no. ELFpedia also says no. Aiden says no. Jamal did say Fire found a passing game over the last couple of weeks. We have seen that. Chad Jeffries, I can't remember which game it was. He was like 22 for 24 in recent weeks, looking pretty solid, throwing the ball a little bit more. So they have found a little bit of a passing game. Who knows? I'm not going to write off the Fire just yet. I'm not going to. They're not my favorite for winning the championship. I do think they're going to find their way into the playoffs here. And it's not impossible in my mind that they three-peat. Would be a little bit of a dark horse, but it's not impossible.
Absolutely. Say that
Yeah.
again.
All right. So there we have it. Those are our individual game previews and our picks for this week. Matt, we're going to take a quick break. Okay. And there it is. There's our schedule. We're going to take a quick break, quick message from our sponsor, and then come back with the Euronics question of the week.
My love is bigger.
Discover it at Euronics. Oi.
All right. Shout out to our sponsor and partner, Euronics, for making the show possible. And in addition to that, they have given us a question of the week, the Euronics and Media question of the week. And chat, let us know your thoughts on this one, because I do think that this is really an interesting one. With so many good teams still being in the playoff race, should the playoffs have included 8 teams instead of just 6? Guys in the chat, you got to let us know where you stand on this. Matt, 8 teams instead of 6. All right, I'm going to tell you what I think. Yes, that is my answer. I would like to see 8 teams in the playoffs. It would be interesting to have the top 2 from each division be able to make it. I mean, we've got a pretty wild playoff race here. I mean, there's still a good handful of teams that have the possibility of getting in, and it would just be even more exciting to me to be able to have more of these teams get into the playoffs, and then that increases the drama within the playoffs. I mean, we just saw in college football them expand to that 12-team playoff, and that was pretty damn wild and exciting. I like that. I would be down for 8 teams in the playoff. Where do you stand on this, Matt?
Oh, I think that could be interesting. Let me just paint a picture for you. Say that did happen. We'd have the Raiders still competing with Madrid. That could still be both potentially finish 7-5. The Galaxy versus Paris would be really tight. They're only 1 win apart. And then the same thing for the Lions and the Panthers. So I think it will be fun, but I'm going to go against you, Nick. I'm going to say no, because the 6 teams, right, is still exclusive. I mean, don't get me wrong. If we had 8, it'd be a lot more matchups, be some fun matchups. I understand that'd be good. So maybe some matchup we haven't seen before, some trilogies settled, perhaps. However, having Madrid, Rhine, potentially Raiders, Paris, still Frankfurt, and Prague all going for those 2 spots, it's like a dogfight. You know what I mean? It's every team needs those 2 spots. Those 2 wildcard spots so valuable. And also, I'm not sure if it would mess around with like the first seed getting the bye week. I don't know how that would work. I'm sure it would be figured out. But I like how everyone's going for those 2 spots. I think it creates like the atmosphere of like anyone could technically, you could have 3 in one division make the playoffs if they're good enough. I think that's fun.
There we go. Okay. Preston Carey agrees with you. No, this way incentivize the first round buys. Less is more. That's fair. That is a fair argument. But I mean, man, how fun would it be if we had all these teams we're talking about trying to get into the playoffs? I mean, these games would still matter because they would be fighting for seeding and fighting for home field advantage. Imagine if we had the Raiders, if we had Madrid, if we had Frankfurt, if we had Prague, like in there as well as those top 4 teams. I just think that makes for a lot of fun. It's not going to diminish the last couple of weeks of the regular season because they're still going to be fighting. So give me 8, brother. Give them 8. Right?
It is true. I'm pretty sure. Didn't we have like last year? We had multiple teams go through in one division. Let me just check on that. Didn't we have? We had 3. We had Madrid go through on the playoffs last year, and they had an absolute classic because they were all in the West. 3. I know we had 3 divisions, so I guess that'd be a bit different. But like, I don't want. No offense to Panthers. No offense to them. I would have rather seen Madrid in the playoffs than them.
Yep.
And then that obviously translates to last year. It's a bit different, but I think we like how I personally like how it is now. I like the wildcard spots. I think it makes everyone so much more aggressive towards those 2 wildcard spots.
Interesting. Okay. Jamal says, I'd like 8 if we saw more out of conference games to avoid watching a matchup for the 3rd time. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Vince Star Rider says, no, it would devalue the regular season and mean no bye week for the top 2. They earned it.
True.
Fair. So, I mean, we'll see. It's a great question, and that's why it's the Euronics question of the week. So there we have it. We're at 6 playoff teams, as is right now. And we're just talking about a lot of drama and shuffling going around with that here in the final 2 weeks. But there we have it. The Euronics question of the week. Now from Euronics, we got another segment here, the Euronics and Egret fastest player in the league. Okay, so Euronics has sent me a Egret Scooter, which you guys will see next week. I'll show you it here. And there we've got Aaron Cruikshank, fastest player in the league. All right. And I'm not sure if he can run faster than that scooter. He might be able to. I'll have to check the maximum speed here. But from what I've seen, Matt, so far this year on the field, Aaron Cruikshank feels like the fastest player in the league. I know you have some data that does not back that up, that argues against that. He didn't run a great 40, but has he not been looking absolutely speedy on the field?
He does. And just to that point, glad you brought it up. I know the speed of the scooter is apparently 18.6 miles per hour, so we can go fast. I've asked ChatGPT to do the maths on a potential 40 that it would run. Apparently, it would go, if you count acceleration, maybe about 4.8. If you don't count acceleration, maybe a 4.4. Don't know the acceleration of the scooter, but Cruikshank ran a 4.6. I don't know what happened at his pro day for him to run a 4.6 because he's very clearly not a 4.6 guy. But I believe Cole Coleman had the fastest official 40 in the ELF. So I'd like to see, maybe we get some kind of Pro Bowl style games, maybe 5 years down the line. I'd like to see a sprint test. If you could pick, I'm going to ask you a question off the cuff, Nick. You get Kevontae Turpin, Cruikshank, Cole Coleman, and I don't know, Devin Burrell, or a pick of your choice to go for a 40. Who are you picking to win that sprint?
Oh, that's tough, man. I don't know, man. I know the 4.6. That's not correct data. Something was weird that day for Aaron Cruikshank, because when you watch him, he's so unbelievably fast and just pulling away from guys in the ELF, and not just slow average guys, like fast guys. These are guys that have angles on him, and I'm oftentimes just shocked at how he gets away. So I'm going with Aaron Cruikshank. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias. Maybe it's just because I've seen him score so many touchdowns this season. I'm going for Cruikshank. What about you?
I think I might go for Turpin. Turpin's he's an NFL returner for a reason. He's rapid. I actually don't know his 40. I might Google that in a second, but I know disrespect to Cruikshank, but I might go Kevontae.
Yeah, so down the line, when we have some sort of Pro Bowl games here, I will be on the scooter, okay, and be racing these guys, and we'll see who's faster, me on the scooter or our fast athletes in the ELF. So there we have it. We'll talk and show you a little bit more about that next week. All right, final segment, Matt Bressington, fantasy football. All right, let's see. We're going to go through our teams. Matt, where are you? You're still ranked pretty high. I mean, you've been kind of killing it, and you have you've got a big salary cap because of your financial footwork, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm in 10th place, which Danny, fourth down fiasco, he's up there in third. He actually overtook me, which is kind of sad for me to deal with. But there's a ton of people, the familiar names. I think ELFP is still in the top 10 as well, so they're doing well. I've played well. Can we flash up my team, actually? I think you'll like this one. I've done currently quite well. I've gone for a bit of Paris bias, of course, because they're playing a team that isn't necessarily best. Here's the thing, though. You got to stay away from Stuttgart when they do that, because you never really know who they're going to play. You don't know if they're going to play the starters. You don't know what they're going to do. So I've avoided the surge players. I've went for more Parisians. I think I wanted to take a risk. I changed this literally last second. I went for Kari Parverine. Do I want to go for Kai Hunter from the Surge? He's not the starter, but he gets a lot of touches. I'm back and forth because running back this year has been a weird one for fantasy.
Been really weird. It's been very, very weird. Well, see, I'm with you on there. Max, if you'll throw up mine, I'm with you. You usually want to avoid the surge in these type of situations because you just don't know. I mean, we saw Riley Hennessy not playing the other week or 2 weeks ago. I'm going Kai Hunter. I think he's great for this one. I think this is going to be sort of a stat game for some of these guys. That's why I have Lewis Geyer. I think because the first half of his season, the first couple of games was a little bit slow statistic-wise. He's trying to catch up, and I bet you he's like, "Hey, let me get 3 before you pull me. Let me get some of my stats run up here." That's why I'm going a little Lewis Geyer. Jamison Wang, Matt, against your problem. I'm sorry, I'm feeling it. And then his Brevin Easton, his go-to man. What do you think?
Yeah, I like those picks. Like I said, I think it could be a bit of a weird one for Wang. He's either going to have a great game, he's going to try and test the flats under pressure and find Ken Hike, who is a Very, very. I think he should be an all-star. I've been screaming from the hills about Prague All-Stars. Ken Hike is definitely one of them. I think deserves that. Maybe if he gets a big game against your fantasy starting quarterback, Jameson Wang, maybe we'll see a little bit more hype as that goes into next week.
We will see. So Matt, you're still dominating. I'm not doing great here. I'm like 230.
Oof.
I mean, when you take the entire population of the world into account, it's pretty good. But you're top 10. So there we have it. Make sure you guys set your teams before the games tomorrow. Chance to win the weekly prizes. And I mean, I'm not in that conversation, but Matt, you're in that conversation for winning the season-long prize.
I think I might be too far away, though. I'm like, what,
Hey,
100? I'm 100 points. Actually, to be fair, I'm only 100 points off of first place. That's kind of mad. Yeah,
That's
100
close.
points off. That's close. I know.
Close,
I
bro.
really want that weekly one. I want that watch, Nick. I want that watch.
That watch will be looking good on your wrist right there, Matt. Will be looking good. All right. So there we have it. Week 13 preview. ELF football is back this weekend. Everybody, make sure you tune in. A lot of different things can happen here. A lot of stuff, playoff implications. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. As always, Matt, been a pleasure, brother. You got anything? Any final words to give the Prague Lions some hope this weekend?
Oh man, just don't break my heart. I need to get the Prague Lions tattoo before the playoffs happen, and I'd like to finish off the season with a little 8-4 would look so nice. 7-5 is good, but it's not 8-4.
Get those boys to 8-4. All right, there we have it. Thank you everybody for watching. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Peace.